Hello there! Survivors, welcome back to this month's Thursdoid update. As we inch closer and closer to the elusive release date for Build 42, the dev team has graced us with yet more juicy updates on what we can expect in the near future. As always, I will leave a link to the dev blog in the description so that you can read that in further detail, but who wants to read anyway? We all know it's better to watch and listen, right? Before we begin, I would like to say a massive thank you to all of you who watch my videos. Your support means the absolute world to me. So, before the tears start, let us begin. Kicking off this month's Thursdoid is a section on a new animation system that we could potentially expect in Build 42. Zach has been cooking up something dubbed Zach's Grapple Tech. Before we dive into what this is, let's go through the why. As it stands, animations in Build 41 work fine in their solo states, as in where one player character or zombie is doing its thing with nothing interacting with it. The issues that arise are when there are human-Z interactions like bites, shoves, and so on. These tend to happen in the air around the intended target rather than interacting with the character model itself. For the time being, this has worked okay, but can definitely lead to feelings of non-interaction or the dreaded stun lock that I'm sure we have all experienced at some point. So to remedy this, Grapple Tech is being explored by the team. Grapple Tech allows them to join two characters in a more personal, combined state like an actual grapple. In essence, the animations will be synchronized better to feel more fluid. The cool thing about this is that the system will also take into account any variables that they deem necessary when making a grapple decision, like your character's current tiredness level, clumsiness, or injuries for example, that could cause this grapple event to fail. They released a prototype video showcasing this in action and have stated that this most likely will be the system's first application in Build 42 once it hits unstable beta. The video speaks for itself, but we finally will be able to pick up and drag a corpse instead of storing it in our inventory each time. Although rudimentary, this paves the way for some really exciting interactions. Of course, they will polish it up by adding some sound effects while dragging, some physics bobble, and so on. Another important note is that this new system will allow the team's animators and of course the modding community to animate two characters interacting in their animation software and see said interaction replicated directly in game. Here's another video showing an example of how this can be done. Sure, it's a bit basic, but this does show what else can be possible with the new Grapple Tech system, like throwing a corpse out of a window all in one fluid motion. As I said before, this is all in testing, so results may vary in Build 42, but they will most likely use the beta period to polish things up and open the way to a whole host of future possibilities with the new system. They really stressed the word potential, but some possibilities are things like zombies grabbing and dragging players through windows, dragging and dumping Zeds into graves, animal attacks and tramples, and potentially mountable horses someday. Next up is yet another tidbit of info surrounding the upcoming changes to weapons in Build 42. Currently, in vanilla Build 41, there are 161 weapons or items that can be used as weapons. At the moment, Build 42 is set to see 345 weapons, with still a few more to feed into the build. 345 ways for us to cause more carnage. A large portion of these new weapons are of course player crafted from the new blacksmithing system, but the number also covers tools that can be used as weapons and of course weapons that have broken but can still cause damage. They added in a few short notes on where they are headed with gameplay and balance surrounding these new weapons. Blacksmithed weapons will generally be the most durable of the lot and high quality, but will require the most infrastructure and skill to create. Weapons fabricated in a welding shop will be of crude and low quality, but still durable. Weapons made out of sticks and broken pieces of metal or bone will have a shorter lifespan in general. Staying with the improvised system, adding a modification to a baseball bat, for example, will trade off durability for the ability to inflict more damage in the short term. For the most part, in each family of crafted weapons, there will be a wealth of options available to you as the player for all of the various types of weapons that PZ provides, like blunt weapons, small blunt weapons, axes, spears, and short blade. The only exception to this is long blades, as they are trying to keep swords special and essentially high value loot, as they have always been. They have reworked spears. Sorry to all my spear lovers out there, but most of the spears as we know it in build 41 have been removed. There is a silver lining out there though. There will be many new spears in build 42, as well as many new creative ways to make spears compared to what we have now. These new weapon additions serve to encourage the player to make them up as they go along, as they gather materials around the world. At least, that's the team's hope. Nevertheless, I'm just excited for the potential that will exist with all these new additions. Something the team has been trying to implement into build 42 are items that are more fun and collectible. This serves to add more personality into the game and help immerse you in the world around you. Of course, it also serves to help extend the endgame a bit so we won't hit that endgame block that a lot of players tend to go through. An example of this is the addition of more recipe magazines, so they will feel more like individual items as opposed to belonging to a perfect collection, as they say. The aim is to keep things more chaotic and varied. There will be recipe magazines for armor and even hollow books that let you hide things inside of them. The art department has also done a really great job in giving them each their own unique flavor. These changes to recipe magazines will also help bring more life to random survivor houses that you encounter in the world around you and help make them more rewarding. You may remember the dev team speaking about the fluid rework coming to build 42. Last time it was mentioned, it was specifically around hair dyes, but now they have successfully converted all liquids to be used in the new fluid system, which now caters for gasoline, water, bleach, alcohol, beverages, and milk from the new animals coming to build 42. This week they also worked on the effects of drinking alcohol and poisons, so characters can get drunk, sick, and of course, permanently expire. Getting drunk will now come with visual effects and delays on player controls depending on how much you've consumed. Up next is a pretty exciting section on what has been cooking regarding animal crafting in build 42. They released an image showing the various steps in said process. In here we can see a butcher hook where we will slaughter the animal and remove materials like leather and feathers, bones and meat. Each animal will have a weight of these materials depending on the size of the animal and its weight at the time of its death. To the left of the picture we can see the beginning of the leathering process. There is a softening beam where we can remove excess flesh from hides and scrape fur off. Just below it is the tanning bucket where we can soak the leather. After that, the leather heads off to the drying rack that is at the top of the screen. Leave the leather here for a while and you've just earned yourself some snazzy new leather. There's also a churning bucket here to create butter from milk. Calories for days. Alrighty, moving on to some updates regarding item packaging. This is actually quite a big one. Currently, the team has two long-standing issues that they need to tackle. One is messy item hoarding in player bases, which we are all guilty of, and extremely long lists of recipes. So to tackle the first issue, they are now allowing players to pack items into boxes that are easier to store for us as the player. At the moment, this feature is available in the form of mods, but I think it's great that they're adding it into the base game. The second issue requires something a tad more complex to solve, but is essentially allowing the recipe system to access dynamic result items so that a single recipe can handle the packing and unpacking of different items. Currently in build 41, each recipe only has a fixed item as a result, like opening canned food needing a recipe for each individual food type, for example. The upcoming changes will allow for a single open canned food recipe for everything, and the recipe will then create the correct resulting item. To round off the dev blog, the team has been busy polishing up Louisville, with strong emphasis on rooftops and higher floors, to tie in with the upcoming skyscrapers, I suspect. They are also trying to add in some more variety and flavor to existing items around the map in addition to new ones. Take the humble generator for example. You will now be able to find different kinds of Jennies, all with their own characteristics. This has also been set up so that it will be easy as possible for modders to add in new varieties of generators and more. And that's a wrap for this week's dev blog. What are your thoughts on these updates? Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and drop a like. Good luck out there, Survivor, and I will see you in the next one.